Hello.
Hi, well, thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. I watched the whole series a while ago because I watched it like in 2 days. They sent it, so it's been a while. But I did enjoy the show very much.
Oh, good. It's nice to meet you, Jamie.
Nice to meet you too. So to start off, why don't you just, for people who haven't seen it, talk about your character and what was it about her too that made you want to do it?
Well, thanks for having me, for one. Well, Chief Anderson is basically the big boss, the chief of police, chief of the Washington police. And so Alex Cross directly reports to Lieutenant Massey, who is just below Chief Anderson. Yeah, I'm the big boss, is really, is really how I describe myself. Um, I think I love playing Chief Anderson because she's a very strong and powerful woman who has, climbed where she got to, broken the glass ceiling, and really has ambitions for herself, but also is not afraid of Cross and not afraid of challenging men when they think they're right, and and giving them the goods when she thinks she's right. So I think I mean, who doesn't love doing that?
Talk about what parts of her you found easiest and most difficult to connect with, character-wise.
I mean, I think I find her, she sometimes can be a bit aggressive, which is not really in my wheelhouse. I'm a strong person. I'm a independent thinker, but I wouldn't say that my method of doing that is aggressive, where I think Anderson is a bit, can be a bit aggressive. But I think we have to remember probably the world in which she is. She's in a very male dominated profession. She's probably had to make some considerable sacrifices along the way in order to get to where she is. There's not an awful lot of female chiefs of police across America. And so I think that's probably some battle scars you're seeing there, right? There's some trauma about maybe the way that she behaves has something to do with the way that she was trained, and the environment that she's in. So I feel like I've been pretty lucky that I don't have to deal with that so much. I think those are some of the traits that I think that I see a definite difference there for sure.
Now, you say, I know she's, like you said, she's kind of in this male-dominated world. She has to do what she has to do to get where she is. But do you think that part of her is maybe, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this, but a lot of times she seems to more be about PR than about maybe the right thing. Do you think, though, she's still more worried about this stuff and maybe just isn't trying to show it because she needs to be like that? Does that make sense the way I'm asking that?
Yeah, I think when you get as high up the food chain as she is, there's a lot of things you have to consider as a chief of police. And one of them is the whole population and trying not to cause upheaval and disturbance within the community. And I think that ultimately, I think she knows that Cross is an incredibly good detective, but he also, in order to do that, breaks the rules a lot. And she has ambitions for herself, as you find out near the end of the season, uh, that I think probably influence her decisions. And so she doesn't want a PR nightmare because that could potentially affect her, whether it be her future career, but also her job. I mean, we have to think about who is the fall guy or gal in this instance. Who is the person that would go down if Cross failed, or if Cross, caused a racial war in DC. And I don't know if Cross would cause that. That's probably just a misunderstanding. But I think there's a lot going on, and she's desperately trying to stop it from happening because she sees the problems, right? She sees inherently what could really be a very big problem, and then ultimately her own career she sees as well. So I think she's trying to straddle the line. We see in episode 6, her and Cross have that really tense scene. Um, And I think that's because it's boiling over. It's all boiling over, and her her um, her ability to be able to manage it, she's losing grip on it. And I think that's what you see there.
Makes sense. Talk about working with Aldous.
Oh, well, all this is, I'm happy to report, probably one of the kindest, sweetest, funny. He's kind of got really bad dad jokes, and he's really funny on set. And he's just a very generous performer. He's 100% professional, and he's just incredible to work with, and he's really fun to play with. And you trust him. I trust him, and so that allows us to be able to take risks as actors when you can trust your scene partner so implicitly. He's a leader. He's a leader on set, and he shows it in every single way. And so it's an absolute privilege to work with him.
Talk about what your preparation was like for this. Did you delve into, that kind of job or for the police?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm certainly not a police officer, so I did spend a lot of time researching female chiefs across America, and it's pretty easy to do because there's not that many of them, and just sort of their trajectories and sort of how they got to where they are. And it was interesting to find that they were all quite different, how they got there. That it's certainly not a direct path. Um, and I also spent a lot of time talking to Ben Watkins, our showrunner, about his vision for the character, as she doesn't appear in any of the books. I wanted to really pick his brain about what he was hoping to capture. I mean, I think it's amazing that Ben has surrounded Cross with these incredibly dominant, powerful, opinionated women. And that probably says something about Ben, actually. And so it's really important to make sure that I understood what he was looking for in her. And I love that he also gave Anderson the two sides, right? That scene at the end of the season is a very different Anderson and a very different relationship that Cross and Anderson have, that you see in that last scene. And so I think that that's really important to know, that she is actually a person, and she actually does have, she does care about Cross quite a lot.
Do you have a favorite scene? I don't know, maybe it is that one, but do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I really loved shooting episode 4. That was, or episode 5, which is the party scene. Ramsey's birthday party. That was an incredibly fun episode, just in general, to shoot. We were all kind of trapped together at that location, and we couldn't leave. And we were all sort of together in the same green room. And so we spent like a week together, and it was really, really fun. And we got to know each other really, really well on that particular episode. So that one, just from behind the scenes aspect, that's one of my faves. But I would say that scene with Cross, the badge and gun scene, in episode 5, I think or 6, episode 6, is it's absolutely my favorite. And that's because I feel like both Aldous and I pushed pushed it as far as it could go. And that's an amazing thing to feel as an actor, that you can take something to the edge, really take it to the edge. And that's because Aldous and I can trust each other, and we can work really well together. And so that allowed for that release valve in episode 8, and for that scene to be much more casual and relaxed, because we've gone to the pinnacle of our relationship, and then it was very different by the end.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say it was surprising. I don't think you expected it at that point anyway.
right. I mean, and I love that Ben and the writers for this show are constantly surprising us with characters, right? There's a lot of character surprises in this season that you do not see coming, and I think that's one of them. I think you see the different side of Anderson, and I'm really grateful that they wrote that for her too.
Did you, after this experience, did you learn anything about yourself through this that changed about you, or maybe acting wise, maybe not, just kind of in general, anything you can think of that.
I, it's funny. It was a really incredibly collaborative and supportive environment. And I think, the acting is, you don't always get that. You don't, it's, I wish I could say that every acting job I've ever had has been fabulous. It hasn't. But but I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of incredible experiences. And I would say that the one thing that I loved so much about this experience in particular was the diversity of voices that were always around us at all times. That's not something I've ever seen on a show before. And the incredible knowledge that one can learn about themselves when you are in an environment that is supportive, inclusive, and just generates a special sort of atmosphere that makes you your best self. And I feel like that's what the cross set allowed for me. It allowed me to be my best self, and it allowed me to be authentically who I am and not anybody else. And which was a very different person than Anderson, by the way. I'm a really nice, funny person.
Are you, I don't know if you can tell me this, and obviously she won't be in the same place she is, but do you know if you're going to be back at all for season two or?
Anderson is back for season two.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any other projects coming up that you can talk about that you want to promote?
Well, I'm we just finished shooting the sixth season of Mallory Towers, which is a British television show that I shoot, that I've been shooting I've played the character now for 4 years. And she's the head of a British boarding school in 1950. Very kind, supportive, uplifting of young girls. And that just, the second half of the fifth season just dropped on BBC iPlayer, and CBBC Kids. And so you can watch it there. And then, yeah, the sixth season will be coming out next year, as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for your time. I appreciate it. Like I said, I did enjoy the series. I'm looking forward to seeing season two. So
Oh, me. Well, I'm so glad.
it's
Thanks.
too far away. Usually you guys at least
Yeah,
ahead of time, so you had time.
I hope so. I hope they put up, well, I mean, the response has been so incredible that I really hope that they'll put it out sooner rather than later.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. Have a good
You're
rest.
welcome, Jamie.
Bye
Yeah,
bye.
you too. Bye.
Bye bye.